you know, gathering the momentum, taking it over. You know, momentum can be a highly discussed topic as well. Does it even exist, really? Etc., etc. If there was going to be any, it would have had to be taken over from the first map. That ended up being a little bit non-existent, as the way it did end. And then you come on to the Stronghold. You know, this is Fnatic's castle. This is their home map. So T-side, CT-side, it doesn't seem to really matter with these guys. Again, Flipside would have to have everything go right to have a close game. Whereas for Fnatic, they just need to operate at a regular level. So it's going to be quite tough from them. And JW going to go for the clutch. Oh, God, no. Not like this. Not already.
Well, I mean, it's a classic knife round for you here as well. Fnatic, yeah, I mean, there's only one map we've really seen Fnatic have issues on, and that's Case. And that was, and obviously early last week, and also a couple times in the last few months as well. But this one, definitely nothing to worry about if you are a Fnatic fan, I'd say, at this stage. It's going to have to be some superhuman work from Flipside, who... Interesting week for them last week. They've actually, both Malmo qualifiers, they've been gatekept by Inferno, are by Ancient on this exact map. So this is the one where they've been struggling with as well, and obviously Ancient has managed to prevent them from qualifying both times. So, yes, not a great map, not many happy memories here for Flipside. They won't be exactly reminiscing of the good old days here. It's going to be just hunker down and try and get the job done. They got the clutch as well. Thanks for that. Already happening.
It's almost like the chicken replay that we had. Another solid addition.
Slightly more relevant, though, this one, I have to say. Just slightly.
Just. But yeah, just going to wait on this one to start up. Fnatic on the CT side, and T side will be Flipside, going in with utility on Blade. Everyone else going on that Glock train. And let's see what they go for.
AW, it's an early peek for him, just straight down mid. Gets dinked for his trouble there as well. A little bit of audacity from Fnatic's top players there as well, but it's going to be Flipside as well. Make their way up second mid, so Flasher has had unfettered access all the way down Banana. He's going to tuck himself in the alcove for a moment. As Olaf always pressing forward, always testing the waters to see what he can find there.
Why target is he allowed to stand out here?
Yeah, I don't know. 23 health still left. The Bonic eventually shuts him down, but then he has to...
I didn't know we joined a game of matchmaking, Mitch, but it's nice to watch.
JW at least might be able to save this one here as well. Crim's got caught, of course, with the HE in hand, so he goes very, very low, but stays alive miraculously. Flipside maybe a little bit shaky. That was Flusher sneakily making his way up mid there. Oh, my lord. Well did it. Not bad. It's looking slightly better for Flipside now as well. 9 hit points of health between Fnatic. Crazy things have happened, let's be real. But they had to get over towards his site and get the defuse now if they want to take the round through. It's going to be, well did it sat at the back of the site. Markeloff in pit. Flusher and Crims will go together here via library.
Yeah, and It could do a lot of damage with that nade. If either of these two players give away their position, that nade could actually kill both of them, and we're going to find out if it can. And goodbye. 2 for 1. The dunk nade comes out, and it does well. So yeah, Fnatic then, weird start. Olaf Meister seemingly being invisible in mid, just being allowed to stay alive for way too long.
I liked how he was aiming at the far player as well, not even worrying about
ignoring the close one. Considering the sort of boiler as well, I don't know. Flipside played that a little disjointed as well and got away with a lot. And as did Olaf for quite some time. But yeah, good stuff for Fnatic. Flipside. So used to saying Fnatic now, that's weird. Good stuff for Flipside here. Gonna get the opening pistol in this one. Considering Flipside didn't do too well in the pistols in the prior map. Not too bad. And again, Fnatic just going on the pistols here with the nade, the smoke, CZs. It's enough to win rounds and games if you looked at Overpass. So yeah, again, Flipside going to be having to struggle on this one.
And it'll be a famed B hold for Fnatic that'll be awaiting Flipside now. They're just going to pressure this one slightly. It's Crim's actually taken fairly low by that grenade. Giving up ground, smoke goes up. Shara going back to get the bomb. And he's actually being pressured by mid. Olaf Meister has just been constantly peeking mid as well. Great for information, getting the intel as well, but now no longer can really safely do that. So he's forced away from mid by Shara and Blade, who don't want to really give away the strat here for Flipside. Markov as well wants to press his way in. Of course, JW is going to be waiting on the other side. In fact, there's no other team you'd expect more often to have that player sitting close to an apartment than Fnatic, so Markov knows.
Yeah, and it seems that it's Crimson Flusher playing B in the opening rounds for Fnatic. Olaf does go over there a little later on sometimes. Well, it's going to find Crims, that's going to keep it open. Flusher just keep playing in that smoke, listening out for steps.
Ooh.
Hearing a few on the cross, good damage towards one more than the others. And now going to try and get quickly towards Ruins and get a little bit more done. But Flipside do have almost all the players on the side. Markov just watching Banana. And Blade and Water, they're going to get the money building over for the T side, which is more than worthwhile. Well needing these plants. And now the last two players for Fnatic going to save that armor and the remaining pistols that they have, which is a Deagle and a CZ.
Yeah, they're not looking to challenge this one out at all there. So Flipside, despite taking a lot of damage, actually suffer no casualties here. Very important. And be surprised if they really go hunting too far. Olofmeister and JW are sitting well back here. I may just want to avoid dealing with JW and a CZ for any longer. I don't think they'll find him here as well. They're just using Blade on low health. They'll be a bit more towards the forefront. Got to be careful here as well. JW just going to float around a corner. She goes for Shara, then gets picked up. Shara goes low as well. So Flipside take a beating in that round, but all stand tall. And Fnatic now lost the first two rounds here as well. We'll see what they do. Probably not much, really, money-wise. They'll probably just be sensible.
So Fnatic now only have Olaf with that Deagle. And just USPSs everywhere else. So Olaf going to try and do some damage. Flipside, again, going to let everyone but Bondit go first, ideally. This will be the player to keep things safe in the end if it needs must, as he does have the rifle, everyone else on the SMGs with a lot of utility. And again, Olaf so ready and willing to try and get some presence down there here. But should be fended back quite handily by the T side at this point.
Yeah, just Crimson Flusher over at B at the moment. And it looks like Flipside actually might like to test that one yet again. Flusher hears that smoke coming straight over the roof there as well, and Crimson's in the back corner. So here's a rather slow push from Flipside, taking their time. Bonnie catches Olofmeister again, looking for something down mid. That's that safe Deagle going down. Grim's forced to come forward. Here's a Molotov in behind him. He's not going to find a kill, but Flusher will. Blade falls down. Flusher had only one bullet left in his clip there. Is forced to reload while being surrounded by the entirety of Flipside, but JW just peeking up. Couple shots in. Oh, already connecting there as well. Dennis falls and JW's going to be soon chased away here. So Flipside, to be fair, fairly unblemished rounds for them here, leading into this first bye. With the exception of the first pistol, they only lost one player in the last two rounds. So that's not bad at all. Money-wise, it's starting to build up for them here. Fnatic all into M4s here. No messing about. Smokes for all. Good assortment.
Yeah, Markov and Char are going to stick on those UMPs. They'll be fine for the next round going forward as well. And the UMPs certainly aren't bad against armor either.
Decent penetration.
However, the one thing I would say about Fnatic in these games is as well, the opening damage that they can achieve when they start doing the deep nades is actually terrifying, which they're not going to go for this round. Maybe playing a little bit more, not necessarily respectful, but a little bit more passive in that regard. We're already going to get that AWP going early. Picking up Olofmeister. Nice angle being held. Going to try and go for the jump shot towards the back of the side, but it's going to be down to one man to hold this. Flush already on the rotate, and you can see that Flipside did take control in apartments. So they could do a really quick hit towards A2, and it looks like Fnatic are aware this could be possible. Both JW and Dennis watching the exits on these. So again, Fnatic reading the game well. JW going to try and turn the odds here. Going to bring it back to an even trade out. Bondic will fall. And now Dennis can back away a little bit, and they can reset the fight. So now 2-2 on each side.
Plenty of options still open for Flipside here as it's Crimson Flusher over at B. You'll note that Olofmeister now playing B as he was sort of just working mid with the pistol earlier on. He's now shifting into the more role we're used to seeing from him over on this side. He went down earlier on, of course, to that peak from World Edit. Blade coming forward. It's going to be Molotov to the back corner again. There's going to be no Crims there waiting for it, though. Flusher actually gets Blade down from Spools. They're going to follow it up with a HE. Nothing towards World Edit, but there's Flusher as well. Picks him up, and Crims doing great work. And Fnatic's B-hold still living up to its name. Markov will be surrounded and taken down now as well. So Fnatic put the nonsense to a stop. That first gun round coming up for them, 1-3.
And almost a little bit sloppy then from Flipside to be taking B like that. I understand one player just trying to barrel in and get the information, but the fact that no one paid any sort of attention towards coils was a little bit weird. In the fact that they could have smoked it out, flashed out. You know, they had utility to work with and they didn't use it. They can upgrade just fine into this round, of course. They're going to be perfectly well set. You know, more than just having UMPs, for example, and still having a lot of utility to work with. But yeah, a little surprising. What is this? Oh my god, that run boost. They're just making it look good. You know, JW had a sip of that Cannon Monster that it was, you know, savoring after that timeout, and clearly coming back in with that full MOG 360 no-scope action, ready for the major.
Yeah, I mean, difficult World Edit by surprise. I don't really know how to follow up on that one. It's
just gloss over it.
Tough act to follow. Yeah, I mean, straight towards the heel of World Edit. Actually took him quite low. Some flashy play, and does yield a good amount of damage as well towards that AWP player for Flipside. Bondic, Markov, inside apartments here as well. just in case there's a wild JW lurking in the shadows. But no, he's back towards A. He's sat a bit more patiently. Dennis will be working on towards this left side. Flusher JW actually going to hook around his blade. Actually got Flusher through the smoke, if I'm not mistaken. So he's lost a little bit cheaply, but notice that Flipside now. I guess this prolonged engagements are starting to take their toll. Blade, Shah, and World at it all looking worse for wear. And Olaf has made that rotate as well.
Good turn off the flash. Gonna just try and slide out on that one. And actually does
Good
catch
check.
Bondic. Timing, I guess, just being in Fnatic's favour sometime, at least in Olaf's in that situation. A little, not necessarily sloppy from Flipside, but they could have had someone watching that angle, so Bondic could have maybe got the molly out or smoke out, I think it was. He was trying to smoke off probably Arch. Now Dennis is going to go looking for this, and a great read of the game and just that intuition to try and go and try and, you know, make something happen then, but they actually lose both players at the same time, which now means A is very vulnerable. Bomb's going to go down. Olaf had backed away almost completely from that, so a long rotate back in, but he's picked himself up the AWP. He's going to try and get control over what is pit here. And Olaf actually missing out on the possible shot then towards one of the players on the side, that being Shara. So this retake's going to be pretty difficult. Crim's going to be working his way through apartments. Going to have a tough time getting past Markov here.
But he's not looking though, that's the thing. Markov's actually looking towards the side. So Crims gets a quick entry, 2 frags off the back of that one. And now Olafmeister in the 1v1. Shara trying to spring towards him, and it goes down. Olafmeister goes the USP. Now, I don't know if he's got time to get this one done here. It does with the kit. Well, there it is. And you know, I can see on the minimap, no one was looking up towards apartments at all.
Well, I think Markov was holding the push out rather than the peak, which is fair. You don't want to be just like sitting there just staring at it in an after, you know, in a retake situation. But then again, who was the player boosted up on site? I think that was maybe World. I'm not too sure who it was on the site. He was just standing on top of the box, which is fine for one angle, but you're completely exposed to short, which I assume Markov was watching. And then if someone's quick on the trigger, pulling out of apartment, of course you're going to go down. So just kind of terrifying play, bringing it down to a 1v1, which, I don't know, you'd maybe assume Olaf can do well in, but yeah, a little bit of a shame for Flipside there. After what was a good start for them, 3 rounds back-to-back, of course, building off the pistol. And yeah, you got to feel for them again. Close rounds, but Fnatic close.
They do indeed 2-3 here for Fnatic. So it does look like we're going to change our servers in a moment. Jump across to another one here. And we'll be obviously still continuing with round 6 as per normal here as well, but plenty to be discussing already, especially off the back of that last round as well. Well did it, having a good start as well.
Yeah,
he's actually a bit, look, we actually don't really see it all that often, really. Like, sometimes AWPers can take it or leave it on the T side here as well, on Inferno. Well did it, having none of it. He says, yeah, I want my AWP and I want it now. And he's made good use of it so far as well. We saw Olafmeister peek into him working his way down Banana earlier on, and so forth. So he's managed to get himself a fair bit off the back of that one. As you can see, 9 and 2 for the man. Yep, not too bad at all.
So, yeah, not much to say after the first pistol and 2 gun rounds, really. Just waiting on a new IP. So hopefully that can be adjusted nice and quickly. And yeah, we can start going on about this one. But yeah, it seems that Fnatic are just playing pretty chilled, if I'm honest. They're not particularly doing much. It's just, you know, rinse and repeat, winning out clutches again. Flipside have been successfully taking themselves towards the sides, at least, which is actually kind of impressive. I didn't actually expect them to be able to be as... it sounds harsh to say as good as at that, but, you know, they are actually showing a real bit of power to the way they're playing, and they are getting the picks, they are being able to work these entries. But Fnatic's economy, when it starts to build up, is going to be pretty scary to overcome. That's when I feel that they're actually not necessarily at their best, but it becomes almost hard, you know, impossible to break them. And they're so good at building up that economy that it becomes a huge problem going down the line. So yeah, a little bit of a difficulty going forward, but I'm really excited to fill this time, Mitch. Are you?
Oh, I'm astonishingly prepared for this one. I'm just looking through my notes here. And,
what do you got there?
Yeah,
what do you got?
Tons of stuff, actually. No,
really?
no. Yeah, well, no, a little bit. Just the normal amount, of course, going into this one. I think we actually didn't have time earlier on in the show to show the recap video from yesterday. So I think we have that ready to go. So that's not a bad way to fill time. It all saves us talking about, well, probably the subject matter will get worse and worse as we go. So we can show that one for you guys and enjoy.
We'll hit rock bottom later. Don't worry.
This is a rematch of yesterday, Lauren. Not on the maps, but these two teams played in Sevo, actually. Yep. So they've just played a best of 2 series, from what I can understand, already on Cobble and Cash. And now we're going to be over to Mirage, of course, here now.
Which is exactly what he should be doing. He doesn't need to show himself, he needs to buy the time and get the information. Now you might have to do something. 10 seconds left, Bondic's gone. What? He just 180s him! Time! The molly's gone down, they've got the plant, this is unbelievable. How has this happened? SK, you are absolutely out of your minds at the moment. That was something you should never be able to do, but it's a 1v2, Mitch.
That's it. Pimp now with 4 points of health as well, but he gets the spray down on towards Bondic. Markloff only has 9 points himself. This could be a close one. Pimp does have a defuse kit, so we can work the time a little bit, but look at that. Cleverly enough! Oh my lord!
They're going to see it coming. Shara, great usage on the molly, going to force him towards the window. He backs away towards side, doesn't get overwhelmed. What a shot coming in from Shara. Molly just doesn't see Bondic at all, and they trade out in the end, but Blade's molly doing the work. The smokes are in place, and Blade is still so effective. Just going to make it even worse, but it's a really nice B split coming back in. A couple players up short, couple through B apartments, and well, then it is just going above and beyond at the moment. He's still going! It's down to a 1v1. He's on for the ace here, and he's going to get it!
Picks over towards the aforementioned now. It's 4 players up for SK Gaming still. They lose one here. All dead on your screen, just trying to hold on. Does finally hit a couple of shots there as well. That's important for him. He's had a couple of stunning rounds, and he's going to be on his second ace of the night if he manages to clean this one up. Modi looking worse for wear, and he will drop down. World edit. Again, world delete more like.
First set of games done. We've got another 2 games coming up just around the corner. We get to see what the boys from Mousesports can do versus Dignitas. 2 teams that have conceded surprising losses.
And Kirby, really on config as well, of course, with his CZ work. Stunning.
Where are they all going?
They'll be back.
Okay. But please don't do it one by one, guys, because Chris J will thrive in these situations. I can imagine MSL screaming, just stop, wait for me to get there before you do anything right now. Because Chris J's going to try and find one more, and he might just get it. Kirby's right around that corner. He's going to land it. Chris J takes down 3. Now into the 1v1. Oh! And he gets the pistol out. Closes down towards MSL. Config, if only you knew what you just snapped to. 6 shot towards next, and that...
Indeed.
Yeah, what a way to end it.
Well, we're going to be back here as well. We did get rid of the pause time here, so things are all good to go. We do find Fnatic now as well. After that very, very close last round, Flush has only been able to get himself a CZ. Still plenty of utility, and JW has an AWP. So all is right with the world in that sense. And Dennis ready to spray on down as they try and press him. Great little pick towards the head of Bonding as he tries to access Pit, and that's access denied right now. JW as well looking to try and shake things up here, but Blade getting the shots in through the box. He will eventually savage JW down. That's 4 for Dennis. Great work from him to bring this one back. Make it an ace. Why not?
And I think Dennis just individually showed how you're meant to hold the A site. Even if it's not a retake, you just sit there and you kill him, and then it happens. It works really well. But yeah, Dennis, just what a sick round from him. Again, this is one of the maps I actually really like Dennis on. Considering that's where, excuse me, Pronax used to play, you can see that he's like taken it onto himself to just play it completely differently in his style, and Dennis is absolutely nuts at playing it. So it's a really nice kind of switch up, and you can see the kind of power that he brings to this lineup in the form of firepower. And Dennis already going hunting here. You've got JW watching his peek from mid. Insane amounts of damage being dealt. That nade could do a lot of work. Doesn't actually connect as well as he'd hope. A wild flying Olaf Meister will appear down Banana. And now the last 2 players for Flipside are just quivering in the corner at this point. Just, Bondic does some work, but
Yeah, I think Flipside had 2 players sat in that underpass for a little bit, so they were just hoping to try and get something away from that one. But no, Fnatic now turn this around, get themselves in the lead after the last few solid rounds. Dennis looking stellar so far tonight. Of course, off the back of that A-hold earlier on, that round was pretty cleanly done. We saw Olaf Meister again doing what he does best, just getting in people's faces. He pressed himself down Banana. He knew that Flipside wouldn't have the money, and now 3 players you could see there heading over towards B. Grims now is going to be straight down Banana as well. Molotov thrown. Don't think Blade was spotted jumping across the opening there as well. And that grenade actually not connected.
And Olaf Meister still on the MP9?
Yep.
Just roll with it. I'm just going to go with it. JW seeing where that flash came from, going to back away because the smoke was going to kind of isolate him there. Does mean that Shara almost had a shot, but not going to land it. Going to back off himself and kind of regroup together. Flipside again trying to fight for this app's control. They do have some step towards it. JW just check in, see if anyone's got to Boiler yet or what's around that corner. And there's a lot of players there. They're not quite committed yet, however. He's relatively vulnerable as well, but he does have Flusher watching his CTR. So, again, get another chance of this. Somehow makes it away unscathed. I don't know how he gets away with that sort of stuff. And here we go. Fnatic getting a little bit deeper into the site, just going to tuck themselves in here, turtle down. And at the moment, bear in mind, Crims is still soloing B. If they do turn their attention, we might just see the masterclass that Crims can bring at how to solo these B sites.
Yeah, he's definitely a self-sufficient player, as World Edit is hoping to remove him for the map at this stage. Markeloff as well. Inside Boiler was being watched earlier by JW, but the shot he missed has forced him right back. So now you can see him sitting back in the corner. He still managed to get on towards Blade as well. So giving up ground correctly and managing to take some blood away. Might have another one at this one. Rotating through cheekily enough. He's going to be moving in between those two spots now. As Flipside now set up, it's a smoke towards Library. It's going to be Dennis now might actually have to be the man to hold on his own. We've seen him be self-sufficient already, so maybe not so much doubt about that one. Markeloff is the first to fall. Well, World Edit responds very, very quickly. Now JW gets a bit dicey. Luckily there's still smoke there as well, but yeah, he's going to push it. Why not? Doesn't quite connect that shot. He's definitely not going to get away with that kind of thing twice in a row there. So a little bit of a weird round for Fnatic there. I think Crims had a quiet one over on B, but it was definitely Olofmeister dropping early. He still had, yeah, like you said, the MP9 and a few missed shots from JW as well forced him to really give up position.
Yeah, a little different from what maybe I'd expect to be coming out from them, but maybe Fnatic just aren't as focused. They're like, it's Inferno, it's our home. We just did the unthinkable on the prior map. We're fine, and they love doing this. This is insane. They're doing it again. Look at this run boost. I don't know what the timing is or what they seem to wait for, but if they hit one of these shots on the fly, they flush up. Try it again.
They're gonna do it
again. Yes.
No, sensible.
No, do it again. Keep doing it until it works.
I'm pretty sure we'll get it in a few rounds' time or within a few rounds.
I'm surprised that JW hasn't got a bind yet. That's just like shout out to Monster. You know what I mean? Like every time he hits a shot, just slams down on the key. It's like, guys, just for you.
Well, to be fair, with JW worrying about run boosts and all the rest, he actually hasn't even made his way into apartments once yet on this CT side. Opting to, well, I mean, I wouldn't exactly call that run boost the most sensible, but sitting right back now is Bond just going to nade out.
Not bad work from the Flipside players towards apartments. They have pulled Olaf a little closer, but now those B smokes going to make him polarize back here. So again, Flipside going to take the longer rotate. See Shara going the long way around, trying to avoid anyone peering down mid. Markov going to join him. Bondic still playing the nuisance player towards apps, but again, not having to do too much. It's Crims, though, who's going to be on the forefront of this. Olaf just watching the cross, and I think Crims might have just spotted someone out. It has caused Fnatic to use their utility, so yes, they certainly have. Now Olaf does just about spot one jumping through the smoke, but that was actually Blade, and he's going to land the shot first. And now they've got the B side all to themselves. Great take from Flipside then, unable to be hindered by Fnatic. The bomb's gone down, 5v3.
And Dennis fails to see Bondic as well, still over on the A site, but the bomb definitely being put down towards B. Flusher will be the man that's closest by, but Bondic's in such a great position here. He's got here undetected, and he can really just mess Flusher up pretty badly right now. Look at that. Doesn't quite land the shot, but that could have been perfect, but Flusher is just going to shut him down. Very, very quick from him as well. Didn't take any damage, so that says a bit more about Bondic's aim than anything else, but now it's going to be just Flipside filtering away from this B side here. World Edit and Blade. Flusher still alive in CT. Again, Fnatic have to give this round up, and Flipside are actually going to go ahead in this one. It's a sensible 3-gun save here from Fnatic, and their CT side, whether it's just tonight or whether it's against Flipside tactics, hasn't definitely shown those signs of potency we've come to expect.
Yeah, a little off from Fnatic. You know, the things that you hail them as the superstars of locking down that B site, you know what I mean? Like, they have these specialists. There's a few others that can keep up in other teams, but they have, Crims. He is like the god tier player on that site. He's the one who's, flashes I've sat there and watched and learned because they're so on point, and the way they play it per angle is perfect. But Flipside's take was absolutely spot on. Early flash to deny JW the angle on the peak, and Blade will make it through towards Woodstack, but he's going to see where that flash came from. Again, a lot of early utility given in to try and get this banana control for Flipside, so they're just once again playing almost default here, just trying to hinder Fnatic's aggression, which is actually a very good shout, considering that they've been very passive through second mid as well. JW loves to fly through and sometimes get to apartments, but he's not flying through anywhere right now. Well, Edit's found him already. Good pickup from him, bringing it down to, again, an advantageous situation for Flipside. Crims going to smoke out, flash out, try and get some control over the close angle, maybe recover that AWP if he can, and actually just gets the utility. Going to try and move these guns away to deny them being kept over, and actually that means that Olaf can upgrade from the Mag 7 towards the AWP. and good old recycling from Fnatic.
It seems like Flipside tactics default has been quite good over these last few rounds. They haven't actually had to do anything ridiculous. Their entries have been really, really nice. In fact, it's actually been Blade and Shara doing that on different sides of the map. So they haven't had to go crazy about it. They've managed to get themselves 5 rounds already here as Fnatic seem to be struggling a little bit to settle themselves on these sites. And now, a rotate back for the entirety of Flipside over towards his B side. Flusher take A side. Sorry, Flusher taken quite low, but that's a good Molotov. Shara will fall to that one, and Flusher again. Just Flusher things. The CZ coming up trumps there as well, but he gets pressured and he reloads at the wrong time.
He's just, I swear to God, he's the only player who's just as good with the CZ as any rifle, but Dennis has given us another masterclass as to how to hold this. And again, great success coming out here. Markelov doing as much as he can, but there is going to be a rotate from Crims eventually, but it's going to be Dennis to seal the deal in the end. And again, great crossfire between Olaf Meister coming through and, you know, Crims being there and Dennis being there. You know, everything started to work out for them then. But it all started with players like Flusher, that CZ work. Holding, you know, from CT Arch on the mid push-up is hard enough with a rifle or an AWP. He does it so extraordinarily well with the CZ. It's just unbelievable to watch. And then he can, you know, pick up an AK from it. And again, he's going to go back in on the CZ. He doesn't have much money, but, you know, he's got enough for the molly, the smoke, and the grenade. So I just don't know what to think about it sometimes. And, ooh, JW going to try and take on Wild Edit here. Centimeters apart, Wild Edit watching his exit towards Boiler here. And the slow step comes out. How does he hit that? JW, ridiculous. Didn't even have the angle, and he's the one to hit the shot on that. So predicting the play coming out from Flipside.
The reaction was very, very good from him. And now Flipside actually having to take a little bit of a back step here. Most of Fnatic have already made their way over towards A. I think it was actually Olaf Meister with an earlier retreat across. And Flipside have shown that they're happy to go for B if their A doesn't work out, if they lose one frag, or even if they lose position. They're happily back up. So, again, now Olaf just going to go back towards that B side as well, just help out his mate. Doesn't really need any of those flashes or Molotovs quite yet, as now Crims can set himself up. Markelov, though, going to push into JW, and he's been very, very hard to shift this round. Just getting pushed into and taking those peaks when they come, and they've been working out quite nicely, and that's... Blades doesn't grab the AWP, doesn't try and peek into that one. Fair enough. Keeps it sensible here as well. We've got players for Flipside inside apartments here as well, but they're not really making any attempt to pressure that one at all. Bonic, of course, has to come towards Boiler first, and JW is going to be flashed away.
Really nice flash towards Quad. It's given them a second to get the pressure down, but Dennis has been doing extremely well, and Dennis doesn't want to stop. And JW with a bit of a quick scope, almost no scope at the end then to find Bondic. And Fnatic bringing out the flare play here on the CT side. Going to put Flipside down to very little money at this point.
This is the thing. Flipside running out of time and running out of options as well. Every time they tried to come forward over towards A, they did get picked by JW. So he was a big part of that. And that's when a team like Flipside's tendency to slow the game down can work against them. Now they have less time and less people than they would have had if they actually made a move earlier on in the piece there. So good way to work them down. War of attrition it is all about. And JW playing that one quite nicely. Now it's a second mid push here for most of Flipside. They're going to go straight on in now. Flusher needs to be pretty sharp on the spray down. Gets to, and even JW assisting from the side. Blade will find him, and he'll be the last man now to fall. And Flusher picks him up. So Flipside get very, very little off that one. Do manage to get down JW, but Dennis is just going to scoop the AWP up and lovingly caress it before it's passed back to its previous owner.
How do you lovingly caress something in CSGO?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Of course you can.
How so?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? It's with the intent that you hold it. Do you gingerly hold it? Are you cradling it? Are you swinging it around?
Okay. Okay, so it's...
And like you know how you can check your knife and stuff like that?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just, you know,
It all comes part and parcel with that?
Yep.
Right.
Don't you know the knife trick? When you inspect your knife, get on the directional pad, up, down, down, left, right, A, B, and you can actually like stroke it lovingly. I thought you were good at this game, Lauren.
Shut your face, I'm awful. I think I'm like, is it bronze 5, silver 1 or something? I don't know where it is. But Dennis again with that double spray. This guy is the immovable object on the A side. He's been single-handedly making it a real problem for any of the hits. And again, it's not just CT Arch. He fancied a bit towards the apartment, and he's going to get it. That's Markelov dealt with. And there's Olaf to close out the round, and what an addition this guy has been. It's just sick to watch. So, yeah, kind of unreal at times how much he can bring to these games.
Yeah, I think starting to gel a lot better now for Fnatic in these last few rounds, as they have 4 on the trot. It's been Flipside struggling to find an opening and struggling to develop any sort of economy. And you see the Fnatic, quite conversely, have a heck of a lot to deal with, as you would expect. So Flipside, again, going to have to save this one a little bit. They're going to get 2 Deagles, the Tech 9 and P250, so Shara even got himself armor, so a bit of raid boss action for him. But That's not really the issue here for Flipside. Bondic, though, finds JW pushing forward early on, so that's an AWP in a position where it can be picked up.
Bondic and Shah have been playing from second mid most of the game to be maybe expecting that. I know JW does it a lot, just kind of bounds in, takes a fight. And great follow-up by Bondic. Actually playing into Fnatic's game style, but just hitting the shots that really undoes them. So making it a very costly round. Both guns that they've been able to, take away from the opponents have been recoverable. But Crims, executing through smoke.
As you do.
As you do.
Stood up on that yellow car now as well. He may have company in a moment. It really depends where Flipside want to press his advantage. They've been able to get an M4 and an AWP, and they've been able to pass it over. So plenty to work with here. Bondic holding on to that one for now. And, well, he's going to drop it there. At least Shah can trade into that one. Olofmeister will fall, as he often has that tendency to come forward down mid quite frequently. So Flusher and Crims have to hold their respective sites on their own. Flusher has a Molotov here as well to work with. So that's definitely going to be coming in helpful. Crims might even cheat himself across.
Who are you betting on, Fnatic or Flipside? Go.
Fnatic, yeah.
You're betting on Fnatic? What do you think, Mitch?
Yeah.
God,
Okay,
how did
sure.
you know the world that it would hit that shot?
I don't know, because statistically speaking, he's been missing a few sitters. So.
And now Crims in the 1v3, probably not going to retake this. Then again, Crims is one of these players who can actually be insanely clutch, but I hate this position from Wilded. If that's what allowed that retake to come in last time through the apartments and actually cost them the round. This time it works out because he comes from CT Arch, which is fine, but a little terrifying from Flipside sometimes, these holds. But it works.
Yeah, a slightly more exposed spot, but...
Slightly.
Yep,
It's
but
like
if someone,
a lighthouse.
if someone comes, a beacon, as it were. If someone comes around from the left, though, as well, obviously easy enough to pick them up. So Flipside actually managed to get themselves some bank for the last round of the half here. And well done, it has an AWP, but double AWP here for Fnatic. Just spending the rest of the money just to try and secure this one. Obviously, Olaf being the other. And JW this time not so keen to press down mid.
Bondic going to skip up towards apartments. A little bit of a spam through from Shara just to try and ensure that no one's been able to cross up from Boiler. Allows Bondic to not worry too much, as Marko's been watching the push-up from Bedroom as well, so they've got the apps control. Now, good flash again. JW this time not completely blind though. Expects the pressure but doesn't expect Bondic that close by, maybe assuming that nade would have sent him packing. Not to be the case, however. As now we see those 5 players for Flipside with the advantage. How do they press the issue? How can they find where that weakness is going to be formed? Because already Olaf's come over towards the A side, so maybe not ideal to be hitting here. And see if they still go for it.
Olofmeister already having made his way over towards this A side earlier on, so Fnatic still have 3 to work with here. Again, that apartment presence for Flipside is often hard fought. A lot of focus towards second mid just to get themselves there, and it might be a good springboard now on towards this site. And Molotov being thrown in. Olaf actually gets himself in a corner. He thought he was safe, but World Edit, though, is going to pick him up. And now just 3 left for Fnatic. Flusher actually over towards the B, maybe trying to anticipate a bit of a rotate there, but no, I think Flipside will persist on towards A. Dennis managed to get the AWP. Just have to go for it now, really. Dinked straight away. Great little peeks coming out there from balcony, and the flash as well made it very, very hard for the man. It's just 2 left for Fnatic. Flush challenges, gets 1, and it's all on Crims again.
Crims 1v4. Gonna get the first 1v3 now. And you got to go in on this one. So this is, you're going to see him just like commit as much as he can. Will World Edit be in the same spot? All these questions Crims will be asking himself in this situation. And yes, funny enough, World Edit, same spot. But sadly, so little room to work in this one. Crims going to have to fight tooth and nail to even get a step back in towards the site. And too many angles, really, to be getting through on this one. There you have it. Bondic is going to close down, and actually not a bad half. This is the thing. It's actually a pretty good half for Flipside. It's just you always feel that Fnatic weren't quite, 100% in there. But this is still actually a really respectable half for Flipside. Certainly showing up here. And again, can they deal with Fnatic's T side, though? It's certainly no less potent. It's one of the sides where I still look at, JW all ping on it or Olaf all ping on it and just think, how can you guys do this so well, yet others just don't seem to even go to it? So, again, can Flipside keep up? Is going to be the consistent question here.
Yeah, I mean, many would say they've already done the hard yards to get 7 rounds on that T side, but Fnatic are no slumps when it comes to their own terrorist side as well. No. Flipside are really going to have to be on the ball here, and this is where we get to see the impressive side of stuff from Fnatic as well. Last half as well, a little bit back and forth, and maybe nothing really notable from them. Struggled to actually find a solid rhythm, and Flipside weren't varying things up much at all. That's the thing. It was defaults, one after another. 2 players in the second mid, 1 up mid, World Edit tries to get an entry, and so on and so forth. So Fnatic there having some issues I think we often it's off the back of Olofmeister actually pressing his way down mid, trying to find a quick battle, an easy battle, and actually get the frag. And often he's actually turned back by a stack of players there. It's because of the presence that Flipside have been putting in towards second mid. They've been ready to receive him with more than one gun pointed at him.
Yeah. So Flipside, the thing is that how much of Flipside going to read into the Fnatic style, right? That's the one thing that I'm going to be looking at here is Fnatic love that CT arch wrap. They do great splits over towards B, and these things you see almost constantly, and it's always, I hate saying always, but it's seemingly a lot of Dennis in the pistol rounds doing some insanely good work. And generally gets things off to a blistering start, especially when they do these CT arch pressure plays. And it's the thing, right? You know what Fnatic are going to do to a degree, sometimes, but then it's like, how do we actually deal with it? That's always like the next level. It's like you can sit there, watch all the demos, but it doesn't mean that you can actually stop it from happening. So we're gonna wait and find out at this point. Flipside, known to be quite a strategic team of sorts, and you'd assume that they'd be well and truly aware of Fnatic's game style. So that's gonna be coming out at this point. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure on this one. Again, it was a really good half from Flipside, so you can't underestimate them. They are turning up here, and there has been some individuals putting up some big numbers, but again, they need to put everything together in this one to deal with Fnatic's T-side. It is a very big strength. Well, it had a good game on T-side. Can he keep that up going in towards the CT half? We're going to find out now as the teams are almost ready to get underway. It is 7-8. Fnatic are in the lead by a small margin after closing out that first half quite strongly. However, the second half could be rougher if Flipside actually turn up here.
Yeah, Flipside like to dictate the pace, and I think the ability to do that may be taken from them here by Fnatic. But that remains to be seen. It is going to be a little bit of a slower approach here for the Swedes. Blade and Bondic already early peaks down mid and seeing absolutely nothing as well. So that is going to justify Markelov's additional positioning at B. But even he is actually a little bit antsy. Heads in towards CT. Dennis is testing right now as Flusher falls, attempting to break into B.
And is this going to be the CTR trap? Actually, this is new. Dennis playing towards apartments. Maybe they're to kind of catch the rotate or keep the attention there, because look at the rest of Fnatic. There's that CTR trap. Not going to head towards B this time. Just going to enclose the site, try and minimize what those USPSs can do. And actually, they're going to be pushing them right to the walls here. But one player standing tall in the site was Markelov. How is he alive and how has he escaped? I don't think I'm ever going to find out these answers to these questions. But it is a 4v2, and Fnatic's game plan may be just completely dismantled here, unless Flipside go one by one.
Shara did that, actually, but he managed to get away with it there. So kudos to him, and now we do have a 1v2 quickly turn around. Fnatic had to settle with the plant there. Things going a little bit wrong for them, and yeah, somehow Bondic's still alive at the end of that one. 5 points of health on him. Cheekily just weathering the storm that Fnatic were trying to belt over towards that A side. Now, losing Crims early on wasn't ideal for Fnatic. I think it was Shara actually peeking out over on that B side to get him away. Even Stevens now heading into... It's going to be the 17th round of the game. And Fnatic, no utility being brought up here, just P250s and a Desert Eagle.
Fnatic just have to kind of suffer through this. Again, good stuff by Flipside, not overreading into the wrap themselves, just kind of tucking themselves away and staying alive more. Okay.
All planned.
Genius plan. Embrace NA nades, beat Fnatic.
Or maybe just walled out. No? Or not. Dennis picks him up there with the P250 and the bomb actually being left there as well. I think it dropped from Olofmeister and went down. Crims just wants to bound forward and try and create an opportunity. At least gets himself into boiler here. Was ducking and dodging there just in case Blade had been set up on that corner to shoot him as he pressed out from mid. But no, he'd already backed off himself. And Markelov heading already over towards the B side. We have Bondic here in pit. Has a good position to receive this push, there's no doubt about it. But it'll be between him and Blade on this site. As I said, Markelov had already thought he'd cheat himself over towards B, but Fnatic seem like, with Crims this far forward, they don't want to rotate out. Maybe they might now, as Bondic, just holding that angle, manages to get Crims as he peeks out of boiler.
Blade.
All right then.
Nice shot towards JW there. That was like a quick, it was like you put a magnet on a fridge, just like, boop. Nice and quick. 30 seconds left. Fnatic running the clock down here. Not actually being gifted any real opportunities unless Bondic keeps doing this, and then maybe you will get punished. Good choices, Bondic, today. Your nade started this round off well for you. It didn't end much better. Now, Dennis, going to keep going. That is a stunning follow-up kill. Now down to a 2v2. He's got himself an M4.
Oh my.
And there's a bomb plant. Okay, Flush is going to have to move out of sight. That's still okay. Dennis has got his push towards him. They have to be a little bit cautious of short now. And that's exactly where one player is going, that being Shara, of course. Still being speedily watched by Dennis here. On to his third kill thus far. Can he make it 4? You can see little side taps, and Flush has seen the gun, and he's going to be the one pouncing on it, just buying the time. Gets him down low. Dennis now spots the other, now into a 1v2. Dennis has to go beast mode here. Bomb is ticking in his favor, but here comes the flood of the CT players, and Markelov will throw himself at it. And Shara needs to be quick to get towards that side, because that clock was pretty darn low.
Yeah, in classic Flipside style as well, doesn't really matter what side they're on, it always seems to get to fairly long rounds. Good little push in there as well. I was starting to think that Shara would be picked off immediately by Dennis in pit, but the flash on towards Dennis, really well timed. He couldn't do nothing. I think it was Oliver, Flusher actually pressing forward with the P250, had to take the fight one-on-one. I think he may have thought he'd actually have some backup, but no, none to speak of. But our Fnatic heads are lifted now as they are getting the buy up. AKs for all. Well did it. Not going to be peeking it so early here, just going to pop flash mid.
And this is one thing they didn't manage actually on that first map, was actually picking up pistol rounds here. So Flipside actually doing well into this half, just by the fact they've actually picked up a pistol and been able to convert some of this into more, and they've not lost out. They've been getting some close rounds, of course, you know, Dennis being one of them. but still, a little bit terrifying at this point. It feels like it's on the verge. You know, when you watch these guys, it's like, how long can they last? Fnatic, though, are on the buy-up this round. You've got the rifles galore, a couple of smokes to boot, and a molly. So how much longer will they be suffering in this one, or will they be able to pull through here? 1 minute left. Fnatic being forced to play quite slow here. Again, having to be a little bit careful, and there's that, you know, standardized mid-flash coming out. Blade expects it, sprays in, finds a touch of cover, but will he expect Olofmeister just powering through? But I think a little bit of a teammate damage coming through will actually assist Flipside if they do need to hinder these guys going forward. However, down to a 4v4, Flipside still have control of the sites. They're not getting overly invested here. And again, they're holding on so well at this point.
Yeah, and credit to them. They haven't lost. They haven't really just trying to throw themselves a Flipside yet. They've at least managed to get Blade off after he dealt with JW. Now a bit of a late push back towards the B side. There's only 30 seconds left in this one here as well. And Olofmeister's trying to simulate continued attention or pressure from Fnatic over towards that A side. And this has split Flipside across the two sides. God help me now. Molotov comes down on towards Shara. He burns very low, just 7 points of health. A strong wind would do the job. And Flusher actually is the one to step up now. Couple very low Fnatic players. And Markelov just casually peeking out there very tentatively. Olofmeister actually shooting his own teammate puts Fnatic down to just 2.
But Flipside so late on the rotate here, this is actually going to be quite tough. Even though Fnatic are pretty low, they're going to need a quick pick here, I feel, for Flipside, as they do have a molly to force someone out of maybe default where Dennis is, but Olof's going to go for the shot towards Wild Edit, which
Ballsy.
You almost put in his favor at this point as well, that it's going to get swung on, but Wild Edit smashes him down. What a shot. The molly goes astray. If only that had hit, it could have done the damage, but now Dennis adjusts, sits by Dark. And that bomb ticks further and further. They see a corner and they take it. The retake comes out from Flipside and they're going to get to double digits here. That was down to the wire, but the time bought the team kill, a couple of pieces falling in the right place. And Flipside are actually putting up a great performance now on this CT side. They've dealt with the pistol. Cool, that was the first step. Then they dealt with the first gun round. But you never write Fnatic out of these games. That's the scary part. You never say, you know, it's done. You know, that's it. That's over. No. These guys can bounce back. These guys are the masters at it. And you've got to pray that there is no pause coming out anytime soon. But anyway, Flipside going, Fnatic going back in with the Tech 9s. A little bit of smoke here and there. You can see the pop flash from Wild Edit, but that smoke dashes his dreams.
Wild Edit has been pretty important here as well. A lot of those important little exchanges he is on the positive end of here. Very important. It's important, by the way. My vocabulary is incredibly strong, but no, in all seriousness, like for that player as well, 17-9, well that it is. There's another one as well. Picks up JW on the press in. Now Bonnie trying to sit towards Pit. He gets one. Will he get another one as they press in his direction? He's just going to have to try and spray down, but no, Flusher is there. Takes down Bondic. Well did it looking out of that library there as well. Markelov not able to get the shot on.
The Flusher's the one who can do the damage, but actually, no, they just go ballsy in this. They smoke it out once, and then Olaf just walks out. There's so much danger available then, as Olaf was the one in pit with the bomb. So, actually, great shot again. What is with Markelov in this UMP? You looked at Overpass? He was actually sick with it as well. Now he's able to convert this again. So now, down to a 2v3. Retake time comes out. Markov is the spearhead here, being just thrown forward. It claims Olaf, leaving Flusher in a 1v3. Tech 9 to hand. Bomb planted for him, but he's been spotted. So now Markov watching it. You can see Shara there, flashing up, and they're taking their time on this. This is getting a little bit scary, but smoke comes out, and Flusher can do nothing but watch as Shara claims his scalp, and there we have it. Flipside building into this now. Great CT half, holding back Fnatic there. It got a little hairy, let's bear in mind. They got the plant down, they took the site, but these retakes have actually worked.
Now Fnatic finding themselves in a position that they need to kick it up a gear if they actually want to close this match out. Flipside really putting them to the sword right now, and this is a team with a really bad Inferno record in previous times. So Fnatic maybe not playing up to their normal standard here as well. It's pretty clear to see with Flipside able to, I guess, manipulate them so easily as they try to pressure these sites. Fnatic at least can buy up here as well. JW does have an AWP. World Edit not able to go for that real early peak. Still pop flashed it anyway. And Olafmeister and Dennis will be testing on A. You can see the Banana crew here as well. It's going to be Flusher and Crims.
The Banana crew.
Need to make something happen here. Hey.
Yeah, and this is the thing, you know, I know people would probably be like, oh, you didn't, hype up Flipside's first half enough. It's like, yeah, because, Fnatic are still Fnatic. There's no point saying, a good half will equate to the game. No, it can still be turned around. It was impressive, it was something you can be happy with. But even Flipside know that that's job half done. That doesn't mean a win at all, right? But the impressive thing is now they've carried on to the CT side. Fnatic have tried a couple of their kind of personal brand of play style rounds, and it's actually not worked out perfectly. So you're starting to see a lot of credit here, and a lovely little angle from Wilder. He can see a touch of Boiler, he can see the push-up as well through quad. And again, Fnatic are actually going to go for some presence, and there it is, coming true. Finally finds Olafmeister, and now Fnatic kind of struggling here, but they're going to try and pressure towards CT Arch. This is the wrap. This is another classic play, and Blade gets caught on the wall. He gets caught just on that pillar, and now Markov going to try and get an angle, and he does. He sees the bomb. He knows what's coming his way now. Gets the tag to follow, buys the time, and this is perfect. He does take a little bit of a step forward towards Markov, but he's seen what the plan is now. So as soon as Shara sees one more player, the alarm bells will ring.
It's going to be tough here. The 1v3, the wrap's sort of working out for Fnatic. There was a mild speed bump earlier on, and Shara as well might be a bigger one himself. He does eventually go down, and World Editor, who was pursuing, also is dropped, and now it's just Bondic has to work out from Banana. He does throw down the Molotov, but JW spitting more fire than Bondic can throw. And it's going to be 11-9. Fnatic bring that one back there. That was important. Maybe starting to get a little bit concerned about the Swedes' performance here, but they managed to get through CT Arch easily enough, and that definitely opened up. Working around World Edit seems to be a good plan.
Yep. Again, that CTR's wrap is something you can always expect from Fnatic to a degree. If they start running out of ideas, they love doing that. But again, it almost got hindered then. You saw so many points in the way of almost stopping them, but it has forced Flipside down to an eco, so they're just going to be on the pistols. Armored with Markov just to, I guess, even out the economy at this point, yeah. So he's down to 3.5, so still one of the highest out there with money. Even up to the investment, Bondic takes a step, gets the information, but also gets his head taken off. So not going to gain too much here, and Fnatic hit the brakes. They want to get the information, they want to get the kills themselves. Markov going to try and swing away, gets caught in the back, down to 3 HP, but I can imagine Flusher now knows he had a bit of armor, so maybe be a little bit careful in case others may have the same.
Looks like Fnatic actually poised to push on towards this A site. So Blade has an opportunity to swing out, maybe get ahead if he can. There's Dennis on towards Markov. That should be the alarm bells ringing out then, but Blade was being watched the whole time. JW, in fact, got him. Flusher very low, but now World Editor has to hold on with just the USP now. Just from Pit, gets one, and eventually he's going to be shut down. So Fnatic almost look like they were considering a potential wrap, but no, it'll be towards the A site. They'll get the plant down. And Shara, well, just bought a 5-7 in this round, so we'll see what he tries to do with that one. Probably not a heck of a lot. Has 3.4k though, so up against 4, it's probably still not worth throwing it in.
No, he could just watch some exits here. That's pretty much it. He doesn't have much to do. But yeah, Fnatic, clean round though. That's what it they need to be. They can just keep building from this. That's a danger. It's like you give them an inch, they will take a mile. But again, Flipside haven't really had bad rounds. It was just they got overwhelmed in one, forced down to an eco. So once again, just a little bit of a bump in the road possibly here for them. But they have to be able to recover here. You can't let Fnatic get the wind in their sails. Susanna will go away from it, so there you go. So Shara gets taken down in the end. So everyone can buy to the next round. Perfectly fine. Maybe not the most amount of money, but enough to get the utility, get the guns they need, and they'll be well set enough. Even an AWP is going to be coming out. So it's not the worst, unless they get reset. If they win this round and reset again, you're going to see Fnatic starting to get very close to a bit of a scary scoreline.
Yeah, saving on 3.4k is pretty conservative there by Flipside, trying to keep it sensible.
Ordered it. It's going to be an early one there towards Banana. Straight shot over. Actually stepped on there as well. JW actually able to get ahead of it, but look at what followed it. A flash and a Molotov. You can see a lot of attention being paid towards this part of Banana. And Markelov as well also got Molotoved away. He's forced to just press forward. He can only go forward, not back. And he's going to re-smoke things as well and just try and reduce the pace of things over at Banana. Flusher just trying to spray at him through the smoke there as well, but Markelov not going to get too much, except a lot of his health taken away here. So JW able to stay here and work some aggression. You can see that's what he's planning to do. And to be fair, Flipside read that well enough by trying to, you know, utility the hell out of Banana, but here it is. It's Markelov on that rotate. Just in case. Well, he actually went towards A and he decided against it. He's coming back now.
Problem being, though, I would say, is that Flipside, excuse me, are out of utility here. Has he actually done that on his own, JW? Hold on. JW's like on a little ledge. If we can get like third person on JW, you can just see he's like on a little ledge there. That's really weird. I didn't know you could do that. I thought you had to boost to be able to see it. Huh. Today I learned. But yeah, Flipside are actually out of a lot of utility. They have no smokes now left, so they just have to kind of deal with what Fnatic have. They've got a couple of pop flashes they could put down. And it looks like a B hit's coming their way. Olaf's maybe going to be the split player to try and work through CT Arch. But Fnatic have so much here. They still got the mollies to put down to these corners to clear them out. So JW going to step in first. And look at the line of smokes coming out here for Fnatic. They've literally smoked off the front of the site. So down to 20 seconds. This is actually kind of hard for Fnatic to get the bomb plant down into. And actually will allow a second to breathe here. But this is a nice little plant at the front. Flipside actually do find the bomb. That's integral now. 10 seconds left. They just need to stay alive more than anything. JW finds one. Nice little pick up from World Edit, and the bomb will be planted though, so Dennis going to keep this one just about in check, but with 8 HP, how much can the Magician do at this point? Going to get pincered down. World Edit going to get there first, but that nade somehow not doing too much damage.
He needs to stall here. There's no kit available for Flipside at this stage, so time is very much of the essence. Unfortunately, Bondic is not going to allow him to just chill on the corner. It's going to be a defuse from Flipside and bring it back. This is going to be a very close conclusion to this game, as Fnatic seem to be a little bit more toothless than we generally remember them. Flipside off the back of that buy, make it work. The smokes towards that B side were very, very interesting. I'm surprised Shara didn't manage to see anything through the smoke towards the bottom, like anything leg-wise, but great spray on towards the bomb, and that just set the things up for Flipside.
Yeah, it's nothing new, these sort of plays, but it's actually kind of cool seeing it again. I don't think I've seen Fnatic ever do that, the line of smoke to the front of the site just for the plant. But I guess when you're down that low on time, you kind of have to. And it's a really big investment of utility. I've seen people do that in pistol rounds and, you know, like these sort of things, but in a full buy, that's kind of unique. Anyway, into this one we go. 12-10. Flipside still in the lead here. And now they get to stabilize the economy a little bit. They need to string together rounds, so they can't lose one after this, otherwise the money back down to absolutely nothing, really. So got to be a little cautious. World Edit getting punished for outstaying his welcome in front of that smoke. And it looks like Fnatic are testing the waters elsewhere. Presence towards second mid, presence towards apartments, and Flipside just sitting back and waiting rather patiently.
Both teams in a very similar economic situation right now, so a loss would be devastating. This is worth 2 for both of them, pretty much, at this point. Blade hearing a lot of action there as well. Look at that, JW get tagged up heavily there from Graveyard. And that was Bondic in there as well. Sent him a bit of a parting gift as he might just relocate himself in towards Pit. World Edit flashed out, sitting in the corner here as well. So they want to overwhelm right now Fnatic who get on towards him, but Bondic holding Pit like an absolute champ. He's still got 19 points of health, and Blade can wrap around here, so they might be able to bait a push in, but Crim's reading that so nicely. Catches Blade as he tries to help out Bondic in Pit. World Edit caught away from the action, doesn't mean he can't get a kill. Another one close up, not going to be forthcoming here. We have the 2v2. Shara was quick to rotate. He's going to be on the side in a few moments, and JW just trying to mess with Markelov here, and he's just trying to spray through. Doesn't quite have the shot here, but Shara will be an important factor on the other side of this site.
Now they know where both players are, actually, for Flipside. They know exactly where these players are, and Dennis gets tagged up and taken down. It's down to JW in a 1v2, and you'd never put it past him to pull these off. But you don't mess with Markelov. He comes around and takes him down, and the defuse will come out, and Flipside make it to lucky number 13 at this rate. Looking pretty solid in this one, I've got to say. Those retakes and how quickly they rotated was the imperative part.
Shara was there when he had to be. JW was so preoccupied with aiming towards Shara's direction there. Shara was flashed though, so it makes sense for him to sit behind the box for as long as he possibly could, and JW was still sitting there, and it was enough for Markelov to come through and pick that one up there. So I think Flipside played that really, really nicely, but they had a lot of information about the position of players on that site before they actually went in to try and fight. Now Fnatic force up this round here, so despite having little money, they still get themselves AKs, but utility is very, very thin for them here. So they're probably just going to have to go for some sort of big push. If they try and play a bit of a pick and split, Flipside can stall them for a long period of time.
Yeah, Olaf gonna kind of take the hit on this one. Normally they like to do their CT Arch wraps on these sort of rounds, just kind of like make the most of maybe what you can do with one smoke. So maybe Olaf Meister could smoke out from Boiler or what have you, but actually already gonna get a good step in. Fnatic just going in dry at this point. Dennis gonna find World at it. I mean, the Bondic now has to step up. Good flash comes out, but actually doesn't catch any of them. So here you go, there's that pressure coming through. Blades out of bullets, and suddenly Fnatic have the advantage. Olaf Meister recovers a rifle, and this retake's gonna be even harder.
Yeah, with the player up at Graveyard as well, Markelov has very limited options in terms of the angles that he can approach this site from, and even more so now with this smoke up. Just all he can really do is peek through it. Now Shara, who was a very, very important part of Flipside's retake last round, he's going to be pressing here through quad. He knows he's going to be watched the whole time. It's going to be Olaf Meister as well, staring straight at him. Flush is low on the site. Shara has a flash to pop him around the corner, but he's actually going to back away here. Sensible from Flipside to save on this Fnatic well-earned round. Still going to be 2 rounds for Flipside in the lead here, so you know, I appreciate that. Money's not great for Flipside, and being sensible here with the save is going to allow them to still have an impact in the next round.
Yeah, kind of need that as well. Money is so far from decent, so you can see 2K1, 2.3, far from ideal. I wonder if Olaf would be brazen enough to maybe go for like an SMG buy or something a little bit cheeky. No, just going straight in on the rifle. Okay, you're looking to keep hold of this end for the next couple of rounds. And see where Shara and Markelov place themselves in this. Gonna be curious. If we can have a little look towards them, that'd be cool. So Markelov's just gonna barrel down mid. Okay, that's a little unpredictable, a little different. He's gonna spot out 3 players, gets a spray onto 2. Great play from Markelov. First time he's pulled out that sort of card. And my God, does it work. Taking out Crims and Dennis is huge in this.
Yeah, so he goes forward, trades his life, also makes an M4 unrecoverable, and there's Bondic as well coming out. Does have to trade that one himself here, but Flipside have 2 players left. One close towards his A side. It's Blade, and Shara's already rotated.
That's sick.
That was
Blade,
nice.
Blade even hitting that towards JW means it's possible. Flush is way ahead of the curve. He's just going to be doing this to try and get the plant or just get some position in towards the site. Spots out 1. Can he find Shara though? Going to smoke down. Gets tagged up. So now they know where the rifle is at least. And you've got Flusher and JW. JW holding from, again, the apartments. Flusher in on the site. Flusher's going to try and take the fight here. But Blade's recovered a rifle too, so there's a little bit of time on this. They both got kits from the CT side. Molly goes down. Immediately extinguished, but as is Shara's life, leaving it all in the hands of Blade. And JW comes out and does seal the deal. But Flipside causing great deals of damage, considering the minimal that they had to work with there.
Just refresh my memory, Lauren.
Yes.
What happened last time you said Fnatic would stomp a team?
What's that, Mitch?
It's insane. I mean, you're not the only one as well. Yanko as well didn't have much else to say except this is just going to be a bloodbath. Well, I mean, it was either way, but maybe not ending up in the way that we thought it would.
You're trying to call me out here?
Well, not really. I'm just saying it's quite a coincidence.
You said that Flusher was trash, and I found that very offensive, if I'm honest.
I didn't say that.
I can't believe you said that. And I hope that Fnatic personally take it up with ESL. Because this round, JW started off well. Which is a little bit of like sweat on his brow, like what have I done?
Not even that. It's just I wasn't even trying to put you in the proverbial, but that's fine. Olaf Meister gets himself on towards the side. Markelov as well. Around towards the side. It's going to be a plant here for Fnatic as well. Now Shara a little bit later to get to the site this time around, so that's not a good start. And through the smoke, Markelov being spotted there. Crims is definitely going to punish him, send him back.
They need to give up this round. The thing is that it looks like Fnatic have found a weakness in the fact that, they are able to take quad quite handily, and then play through with normally it's at least 3 players standing, if not 2, and they've been holding these rounds pretty well. So if I was Flipside, you either need to come for a way for dealing with that specifically, hoping that Fnatic consistently do that, or just kind of like play around at what's been going wrong. It might be time for a timeout of themselves. Maybe they're terrified of what Fnatic would come up with in a timeout, but. Again, keeping hold of the weapons is fine, but Fnatic is starting to build here, which is worrying.
13 rounds apiece. And the point I was trying to make earlier on is that no one really expected Flipside to take it this close. And
no.
Definitely hasn't been a stomp here as well. They've shown us some good rounds, but Fnatic have the last 3, and it's fairly reasonable to expect Flipside to try and save on these 2 guns now. What they can buy to accompany them, also not all that stellar. Well, it buys nothing. We've got P250s for Blade and Bondic here. So let's see if the style changes here. Shara, the man on your screen, has been very, very ready to rotate quite often. And the boost for Welded as well. If you can get 1 and trade in, it's definitely worth it.
It looks like Flipside are reading into consistency of hits towards A that Fnatic have been bringing. Obviously stacking it out. Not too surprising. You see the smoke towards CT Arch. Deep flash comes out. Actually blinded Wild at it, not the guy at CT Arch. So it looks like a slower play from Fnatic to try and get that presence there. They actually checked for the boost as well. An easy pickup towards Wild at it. No armor to be seen. The bigger bosses here are Shara and Markloff, bearing in mind. And Markloff's the one at Graveyard. Shara, the only player by B. And he needs to stick this out because Fnatic seem to have maybe read into this like, this feels like a stack. We're not sure on this. You can see them being a little more hesitant. They could just still bully through. They could just power through it. They might be a little bit careful, but they are going to take themselves the longer route here, which is the safer plan. You don't want to play against pistols close range. Blade spots out the information, so now it's Markloff. He has to be the one to deliver here. He's waiting down in pit. 4 players now moving towards the site. Excuse me, 3. 1 hops in. You're going to try and see Bondik trying to finish off the deal, and actually, the kills come in thick and fast. Bondik finds Olaf Meister, and now Blade waiting ever so patiently. Tries to take the swing, but he gets punished by JW, leaving just Shara standing, who was the solo guardian on B.
So no other option now for Flipside other than to send Shara forward. It looks like he's going to have a crack at it anyway, so not going to save on just one. Or will he? Checking though as well, quite meticulously. Speaking of meticulous as well, Fnatic definitely checked out towards that boost spot as well. They know this is the kind of round where they don't want to take any chances. And Flusher, I think you've seen Shara as well, so going to be battling that one out. Flusher will fall. Shara going to be pressured from the other side as well. Now you can just see Fnatic. Yeah, it's been a long game for Fnatic. They just want to sort of stamp out any chance at Flipside bringing this one back. And they will go ahead now after quite some time, trailing behind Flipside, and they're only 2 rounds away from the victory.
The thing is that they tease Flipside with the win, right? Tease them, they're like, you realise you're quite close to that 16 rounds, guys. You getting your hopes up, huh? And Fnatic do this sort of thing, right? 4 rounds in a row now. This is the big one now for Flipside. They have to go hard this round. There's no two ways about it. And Warren needs to be present. He has been a player who's been able to cause differences. He has been able to define some of these rounds. And we'd see that again. So will Flipside do the same thing here? Will they take the same approach? Will Fnatic take the same approach? Flusher ever so present towards Banana. Not seeing this much attention here in quite some time. Shara going to be kept on his toes here.
Interesting positioning for him as well. I'll be set up with Markloff here, so this could get chaotic. They have to be careful, but still they're double peeking towards Crims and actually take him off with a very minimum amount of damage taken there. If there's any round where you want to make sure you can secure those kills, it's going to be this one. Flusher as well, hoping to catch something. Either above or through the smoke. He's not fussed. Not picking man. Gets a bit of damage on towards Markloff as well. Does provoke some return fire. And a grenade.
He's also trying to work all that utility away. They know that Flipside will be coming into this with a limited arsenal behind them in the form of, you know, smokes, grenades and flashes and such. So ideally, if they can work it down now, you'd assume by the time it comes to a retake, they won't have much to work with. They will have limited amounts. So you can imagine Fnatic wanting to work it down as much as possible. But now, they do have to hit a site, and it looks like CT Arch is going to get the vast majority of the attention. Blade likes to crouch on the left side of that sometimes to watch the cross, but actually going to move away completely. Say, all right, guys, you want this? You work for it. All right? So now they're going to take it towards quite a little bit different, but again, something we've seen most rounds now, and actually Wilder's in a bit of a good spot for this. But Dennis takes down Bondik, so now Wilder is pinched in on his own, surrounded, but Blade supporting him. A great little finisher from Wilder, and Fnatic forced to play the slow, patient style that Flipside love. And Flipside come out on top.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, no, you're not seeing things. Flipside tactics are even with Fnatic on round 29. This is incredible stuff from them as well. And looking at the scoreboard, it's not necessarily one individual, though World has been consistent tonight, and that's what has seen some of these closer games happen. Overtime is a distinct possibility. Now, the real question is a Flipside playing well or Fnatic not playing so well? Jury might be out on that one here, but I have to say, Flipside are definitely exceeding expectations in terms of individually as well. We're sitting here thinking, oh, they won't be able to make this happen. They do. But perhaps you could say that Fnatic have been a little bit rusty themselves in some of these plays.
Some of them, sure, but then again, credit goes to World Edit, and some of these players on Flipside, Markloff in the earlier rounds, they're actually going toe-for-toe. That's the one thing I'd say. On the first map, there was some moments we think, was that really Fnatic being outdone, or Fnatic outdoing themselves? This time, on Flipside CT side, they are putting in a stellar performance, Mitch, that you've been going on about quite some time, that these guys are turning up here.
Slowly but surely. I'm sure Fnatic are going to pull the trigger at some stage. Michael and Shara aren't going to be tempted to push any further down Banana as well. They had that exchange with Flusher last round already. They don't really want to go for too much more. Now, the bomb actually hasn't been picked up by a player yet, so Fnatic may try and sell something with 3, and either Flusher brings up the rear if they get something in A or heads to B. Looks like this A hit is definitely going to be happening. So Blade smoke up. Blade is going to try and get the spray down. Crim's going to catch him. No, that's going to hurt for Flipside. Worldetter has to land this next shot. First, he has to find out where he's going to be aiming. He and Bondic both looking over at Library. They're not only covering quad for the moment, but now Markelov as well. Being very, very meticulous on his rotate through. He knows he's going to be met, but this is great. Markelov in a good position, but it's a trade. It's a 1-for-1. And now as well in towards Banana. Fnatic should be able to get in easily enough. The bomb being couriered there as soon as possible. And there's still a couple players from Flipside to make their way across. They are going to have to come from Banana, filter their way through from there. Worldetter going to get rid of the AWP. Picking himself up. Or not. No? Trading it? Not sure. Anyway, I thought I saw him drop it, but no. He's going to be using that one. One in dark corner, one in construction.
Oh, this is going to be really
one in
tough.
hut.
If they step too far, Crim's has got the rotate. If they push into sight, Olaf has the push. They have to get some of these shots quickly. There's a kit on Bondic, but someone's going to have to sacrifice themselves to the information ideally here, and it might just be Worldetter. Here we go. He can't get it done, and now Bondic has to bite the bullet and back pretty much away from this. And Olaf doesn't like the sound of that, and Fnatic close it down with what was minimal HP and such a close round to lose it in. Fnatic get it to map point. Flipside can still do this. They have just enough money to scrape together somewhat of a respectable buy. Nothing perfect, though. 2 rifles, a Mag 7, a CZ, alright, maybe not respectable. But then, you know, Fnatic's money's not perfect either. But at this point, it doesn't matter. They're 1 round away from closing this down. And what another heartbreaking game for Flipside if they lose it in this one.
That 15th round for Fnatic coming up as well. And Markelov's got to be kicking himself there as well. He was in a position to sort of prevent this, but Fnatic's, both times they've gone for that wrap, it's worked out really, really well. And Flipside just didn't have a response to it. But now an important round for them here. You can see Blades going for the Mag 7. Bondic only on a CZ and Worldetter at 5-7. It's a very, very messy little buy. It's a patchwork of weapons. Flipside need to use them all very, very well if they want to stop Fnatic. Now, Olafmeister already fairly low. JW just hoping someone peeks him. I think it's pretty unlikely that we're going to see too much of that happen from Flipside in this round. Smoke on top of Worldetter as he presses through it. Molotov into boiler.
They have to play so close here with the 5-7, the CZ, and the Mag 7. They have to be right on the verge. Excuse me. And Bondic is lurking around here, but I hope they don't read that, you know, second mid's clear or, you know, what have you. They're going to get the peek here, and JW's going to find one towards Blade, and Bondic just doesn't land the shot cleanly as he needs, and here comes the speed up Fnatic. They're going to start looking towards A quicker and quicker. Worldetter has to be the one to stop this, but he has so little to work with. Just that 5-7. And again, Fnatic are up mid, yet to fully commit. And it looks like JW is about to maybe hammer that nail home.
Oh no, Bondic actually takes his head off here. That's a big passage of play. The AWP for Fnatic is down. Worldetter finds Olafmeister and Markelov gets Flusher now. It's just 1 man left as Crimson Dennis turn it up. It's Worldetter now.
Off to B we go.
Yeah, the wrap again, and maybe a little bit later on in the piece here as well, but sheesh, that's oh my lord, a bit of a fadeaway grenade there coming towards Worldetter. Crimson thinks about finishing it off there, but actually jumps across, cops a little bit of extra damage from Worldetter.
Worldetter was trying to play to the time, then try and slow him down, but what a way to lose.
Incredible stuff from Fnatic to bring it back at the end, but maybe a little bit less than what we expect from them in some ways. But Flipside, great performance from them. It's got to be heartbreaking to come so closely. 16-13, then 16-14. And it's these kind of games as well, you can pinpoint where it was won and lost to sometimes a few passages to play or maybe a round or a moment even. And Flipside be kicking themselves about that.
Yeah, this is the thing that people can go to them and say, oh, really good game, really close, but a loss is still a loss in their eyes, and it's going to be pretty devastating the way they did lose it. A couple of, you know, really aggressive plays from Fnatic, finding a couple of flaws and being able to, like, you know, actually push them. Again, I want to hear it from Yanko and the boys on the desk there.
Absolutely, gentlemen. Take it away. Let us know what your thoughts are on this game.
Thoughts are.